guys, in today's video I'm going to show you how I made my Dragonfly cake topper. So this was part of the insect series that I did for my Facebook Lives. The Facebook Live is still available over on my Facebook page, Zoes Fancy Cakes, if you do want to watch the full-length version, guys. So I'm going to make it on some polystyrene, but you don't have to. It depends on how you want to make it. I'll explain a bit more shortly. So I'm going to use the Saracino modeling paste in like pre-coloured blue, but you can dye it with food colours yourself anyway if you prefer. And I'm also going to use some polystyrene in this, so you're not going to be able to eat this one. The polystyrene is just to try and keep the weight down, but also because of how we're putting the legs on, they're going to need extra support. Polystyrene will help with that. So we're going to start with a ball of the blue modeling paste, and I'll put links below the video, guys, to everything that I've used so that you know what everything is. You can find most of the stuff in my online shop as well. So I'm taking the blue and I'm pulling it so it's a little bit longer and slightly sort of thinner on each end, and I'm wrapping it around the polystyrene ball, and this first bit is going to be our dragonfly's head. I'm not too worried if you see a bit of polystyrene either side because the eyes are going to cover that bit up. So I'm just squeezing it in a little bit. It looks like an odd shape at the moment, and of course you can go bigger or smaller with the face than what I have done. We're going to take a ball of white paste. So this is modeling paste again. I'm going to roll it so it's a little bit more like the center of a Kinder Egg shape. And then I'm going to cut it in half, and these are going to become our eyes. Just check they're the same size, and we're going to just pop these on to our head either side like that. Hopefully you can see it's starting to take shape. We're going to just draw in a little line with our Dresden tool for the mouth. A little line up. And remember, guys, it's cartoony, so we're not aiming for it to be realistic at all on this one. So we're going to put the center part of the body in, and I have got another polystyrene ball because when it's threaded together, the polystyrene will hold it firmer. So we're going to put a little bit of water in our next ball of paste. This is just going to help it stick to the polystyrene ball. You can use edible glue if you prefer. And I'm going to pinch it, and instead of bringing it to a round ball, we're going to leave it a bit more oval in shape. And I'm just trying to rub the seam out a little bit with this tool. I think it's called a cat tongue tool. Again, I'll put links below to the one that I'm using. So I'm going to have it slightly narrower at this side here. Let's just put some little lines in for a bit of detail. Now, I thought they had lines a bit like this on one of the pictures I was looking at of like a real dragonfly, but I could have that wrong. So we're going to thread all the body pieces together with wire. I haven't made all the body pieces yet, but we're going to use 18 gauge wire. It's just florist wire. So we want to curve it slightly to the shape you want the body. Now, it might be that you don't want to have your body curved like this, so you don't have to bend your wire. And this is just one that I made earlier as an example so I could show you guys. It's going to thread through here, and it's going to come out the end, and it's going to have enough on the end that we can just stick the head onto. And I know we've not made the bottom part of the body yet, like its tail end, so we will do that shortly, but I'm just cutting that wire ready. And then we're going to take some more blue modeling paste, and we're just going to roll it. When I was looking at dragonflies, they were all slightly different at the end, so you know, you can play around with it. Remember, it's cartoony, so it's fine if it doesn't look like the real one. And it's up to you really the length you want to make it as well. So I've just cut that down, and we're just pinching it a little bit so that it attaches or fits nicely to that body part there. We're going to put some lines around it with our Dresden tool, just going all the way up the body. I'm going to put that to one side, let it firm up a little bit, and then we're just going to go back to our head, do a bit of work on the head while we're waiting for the other bit to firm. And guys, if you do want to watch this in real time, the Facebook Live is still available on my Facebook page for you to watch. If you go to Zoes Fancy Cakes, at the top there's a section that's called Live, and in there are all the old live videos that I did, so you can have a good look through there. Okay, so we've cut some sort of semicircles, or slightly bigger than a semicircle, and this is going to become our eyelid, so we're just going to press it around the white bit of the eye, carefully trying to tuck it in to sort of the back of the eyeball. You might have to stretch it around a little bit to get it to fit, or trim bits off where you've stretched it a little bit too long. And then I'm going to roll another piece, and this is going to go on for like its nose. If dragonflies have noses, I'm not sure. I have kept it thicker at one end, thinner at the other, and the thicker end we're just going to sort of cut a V shape into. And then I'm just going to narrow this a bit more at this top end here. And then that's going to push on there like so, and it's just going to go down between the tops of the eyes. So you might find that, you know, once you put it in place, you have to amend it a little bit. So I'm just marking on bits that I want to cut out, just so it fits nicer between those eyes. And you can just press the other end down, just trying to rub the seam into the rest of the head. And then I've rolled some green modeling paste, really nice and thin, and we're just going to cut out 2 circles. Now the thinner you can roll this, the better, so that the eyes don't stick out too much. I mean, he's got sticky out eyes anyway, but so that the iris doesn't come off sort of the eyeball too much. And then we're going to do the same again with a smaller circle, but in black. middle of the green iris. Now I've gone for a pale green for the iris, but that's because we're going to add a bit of a darker colour just to the edge of it as well with a pen shortly. So I'm using a green fractal pen, and these are edible pens, but we're not going to be eating this topper anyway because it's got some polystyrene in the middle. But they are still edible pens. So I've drawn a line around the edge, and then with a slightly damp brush, I'm sort of brushing that colour from the edge inwards towards the pupil just to blend the colour out. And then we're going to add a small dot of white. So it looks like there's a bit of a sparkle in each eye. You can add a second dot if you want. And then if you want to add some colour to it, you can do. I'm just adding a little bit of green just to the end of the nose. And of course you can do these in whatever colour you want. I just went for blue for this one. But yeah, whatever colour Dragonfly you fancy. And the colours I'm using, this is a petal dust palette. Again, these are edible colours. It's not my makeup, it is an edible food palette. I do sell these on the website. I'll put links below for you guys for anybody that is interested. Let's go for a bit of a darker blue on those eyelids. And then we're going to cut some nice thin pieces of black. And we're just going to pop these around the outer edge of that eyelid. And you can flick it out if you want the eyelashes to look a little bit longer at the edges. And you can use a bit of water or edible glue to stick this in place. You can add extra little eyelashes as well if you want to cut out some tiny little triangles and stick those on. And I'm just going to add a bit of dust to the tail as well. So it's been drying maybe for about 15 minutes, the tail. So it hasn't set, but it is a little bit firmer than what it was when I first made it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to push this wire through the body. And remember, this body here has got a piece of polystyrene in. So it's going to hold the wire fairly firmly in the middle there. And then we're going to push the end of his tail onto there. Just being careful not to have the wire poke out the back when you're pushing that on. And then the head is going to go on to the front. And you can stick the tail and body together with a bit of water or edible glue, guys. Now, the reason you now see me swap from a blue to a pink one is because I want those parts to dry before I put them together. And because we were doing it in a live video, I had to go to here's one I made earlier. So I've added a little piece of paste on for its neck, and I'm just poking a hole into the back of its head ready, and then we're going to push that onto the end of the wire. So the blue one I was making, once that's set, we would do the same thing with that one. So I'm going to stick mine into polystyrene for support. You don't have to if you don't want to, so it depends on what kind of legs you're giving yours. Because mine's having wire legs, and we're using that same florist wire again, the gauge 18. Because we're using these, it needs to stick into something. So polystyrene's ideal. If you're going to put it into a cake, guys, I would probably put it on polystyrene, cover the polystyrene in icing, and make sure that you put the whole polystyrene on top of your cake. But there would need to be something between your polystyrene and your cake, like a cake card, so the polystyrene doesn't touch it exact. You can make icing legs. It could be sat flat on your cake without legs. It really is up to you. But I need to bend these, and I realize it's kind of an odd shape to describe, but the first bit of wire is, I'm trying to think of the best way to explain this. So the ones I made earlier, the bit that I coloured in black is the bit of leg that will be on display. So it's kind of like an L shape with a little foot on the end. And then we have a little bit of white that's sticking out the top and a bit of white that's sticking out the bottom. So the bit of white at the bottom is going to be inserted into the polystyrene, and then the bit of white at the top is going to be inserted into the body of our dragonfly. So the bit at the top doesn't want to be too long, otherwise it will go all the way through the body and stick out the top. So if I lay them side by side like that, hopefully you can get a better idea of how they're going to sit. And I would suggest, guys, because I'm not very good at explaining the shape of the legs, you press pause on the video while I've got them laying down so you can see the shape and copy that shape for when you make yours. So I'm adding 2 legs first, so they're the mirror image of each other, and then we'll add another 2. I want all the top bits of the legs to touch in the middle, so all those white bits that I've not coloured in with the black pen. It was an edible pen again that I used, guys, but we're not going to be eating the wire legs. So once you've got all 6 on, so the feet are kind of spread out and the middle bit is all together, you are going to push this dragonfly onto here. And again, this is another reason why we've got that tiny piece of polystyrene inside the body, because these legs, the tops of the legs, are going to push into that polystyrene and it's going to hold it fairly solid. If not, you might find that if you don't put the polystyrene in, the body can slide down on the legs and it doesn't offer as much support. Then the last thing to do is to add your wings. Now, apologies guys, I haven't done the wings in this video, but those of you that watch my channel regularly will know that we already have a fairy wings video, which is actually a video that I made a lot of the wings from the insects in. So I'm going to put a link up to that in the corner of the video now so you guys can see how to make the wings. I hope you've enjoyed the video, guys. Don't forget to join me for my Facebook Lives every Monday morning at 10 a.m. UK time over on Zoes Fancy Cakes Facebook page. I'd love to see what you guys make from these videos. If you want to tag me on your creations or on Facebook or Instagram, feel free. I'd love to see them and I can even give them a share for you. Thanks for watching.
If you liked the video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button and leave me a comment below. You can see more of my tutorials by clicking on the images on screen now. If you haven't already, make sure you click the subscribe button to stay up to date with my future tutorials. There are also links in the description box below where you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and more.